Welcome, everyone. My continuing trip around the world through your common beers. Well, it's fascinating, and I always like to find and try new stuff. Well, here is supposed to be the premier beer of Singapore, called Tiger. And I'm just going to get some more light in this. If that helps or not, I'm not sure. Let's get this going. So, this is, and let's move it a little forward and let's look at this particular position properly so I can see it better. This particular beer. So, Tiger, it's got a cool, looks like a Bengal tiger on there. Cool label at the top here. And let's see what it says here. Since 1932, that's a long time, that's almost 100 years. World acclaimed Asian lager. Again, this is a lager, award-winning, full-bodied beer born in Singapore. So, apparently it's a Singapore. But, Singapore, of course, was invaded by the Japanese. The British owned Singapore as a colony for many years. And now they're a very prosperous country, apparently, at this time, with a lot of business going through Singapore. They have multi-languages. You go there and they have everything listed in their language, whatever that may be, in English, and I believe Chinese, maybe French as well. So they're multi-language. One reason why they're doing so well, of course, because any country that is multi-language or speaks entirely English, like 99% of those in Holland, well, that's why Holland is so prosperous. Because they can deal with the entire world, and that's the same thing with Singapore. So let's see what it says on here. A bold lager born in the heart of Asia. Tiger is brewed using our tropical lagering process to make a lager, making it a uniquely refreshing, full-bodied beer. Anything else on here? Enjoy Tiger responsibly. It's 5% alcohol. This is a typical 11-ounce bottle, which is what you seem to get out there in most countries. Now, this little guide I have that came with this selection of 24 international beers, and they usually have these kind of things around the world, maybe something you want to look into. As I said, if you're going to grow as a person and thinking-wise, you have to experience everything. And you should know. How can you say you're an intelligent person when you have no idea what the foods, the customs, the drinks are in other countries? It just shows how ignorant you are. But what are the ingredients in this, which I find interesting? Well, it's got the typical ingredients that a lager would have, which is water. And this is where everything starts with. And that's why some beers are better because of the fact that of their water. People have said this for years. The water makes better bread, etc., whatever. I don't know. I'm assuming it's all filtered. I don't know what water is like in Singapore. That's one Asian country I had not gone to. It has barley malt. Well, that's typical. You add malt, that's what you make beer out of. Hops, again, that's what usually gives you the good flavor. Czechoslovakia, they're in the Czech Republic now, is known to have the best hops on the planet. So, that is the reality of all that kind of stuff. So, that's why their beers are so damn good. So here's the little booklet. Ooh, is that fascinating? Ooh, wow, look at that, It's got words on it. Ooh, Tiger. Okay. The color, generally, they're saying here, I can't tell from this bottle because it is colored to keep the light out. It says the color is yellow. Light golden yellow. Well, that's always a bad sign. And the one ingredient here that's different than most other beers, they're adding cane sugar. Now, this is always seen as a cheap and bad way to make beer, is when you add sugar in, because it makes it ferment faster, and as such, the quality and taste tend to go down a little bit. Maybe, we don't know. It was the purity laws put in by Germany to stop sugar from being added was a control of the market. It wasn't for necessarily quality. Making something a little sweeter is better. Making something a little faster, as long as you're not giving up on quality, what's the point? Now, sugar helps the entire brewing process, so it's not a bad idea. As with most beers you're going to find still around the world, twist tops are not common. They're not common in Germany. Of course, neither is cars. You generally have wagons in most of Europe and roads that were made by the Romans. Let's open this up. Tigers, lion, tiger. Cool bottle cap. I think everybody likes tigers as well as dragons, and tigers are pretty cool. What beautiful animals. So let's find out why this is world acclaimed. Now, I don't know if this was started by a Brit, because the time frame we're talking about, 1932, I believe is the time. Well, I don't know if that was the Japanese were there at that time or the Brits were still there. Maybe the Brits were there, the Japanese pushed them out, who knows. The usual story of the Asia that, of course, you don't know nothing about. So let's pour this out. Take a lookie at the beverage. Now, you can see, like, we had with that last one that was from Trinidad, that was really a bad beer, had an awful lot of more carbonation there. And it was not as, this is amber, more of an amber, so it probably means, but it is yellowish, that usually means bitter. So that's a problem. The darker a beer is, the sweeter it is. That's why dark beers, generally people prefer, particularly women, because they're sweeter. They have a fuller flavor generally. But, the key is to get a good lager, a good Pilsner, that has full body, but is not as sweet as you get with a, quote, dark beer. So let's try this. And, it always takes a couple of minutes after you drink something. Let your taste buds grab it, hold it, beat it, and taste it. So let's give it a minute or so. We got left in here. Well, might as well take care of that. As you said, I do not normally drink beer. If I do, I drink a beer and I usually keep it for several days in a little pressurized container that keeps the the effervescence, and sip it a little. Beer is really bad for you if you drink lots of it. It's just a carb that goes right to your pancreas. So you have to drink it in great moderation, and you have to see how that affects you. That's why so many people get fat from beer. Beer is liquid bread. Bread generally ain't good for you, particularly white bread. So let's try this again. It's turning out that this is pretty good. What I found is that most Asian beers are delicious. Japanese beers are in the top beers of the world. Chinese beer, surprisingly, is some of the best in the world. Thai beer is pretty good. We're going to have some Thai beers in this, and we'll have to go over it again. I haven't had one in many years. But I found the particularly well. Just like, surprisingly enough, the best whiskey comes from Japan. Nika and other ones who went to the schools and saw how they did it, and of course, they did it better. Most Scottish Scotch, or whiskey, is pretty bad. So, the Irish whiskeys are all pretty good. They make it much better, and they are softer. Again, things are not supposed to burn your throat. They're supposed to taste good. So, this does not have a bitter flavor. I do kind of taste maybe a little cane sugar here. I have a very sophisticated palate, so I do taste a wee bit of maybe what would be cane sugar. Just a tiny, tiny amount. Which is good. Bitter beer is bad beer. Anybody can make something bitter. It's an imbecilic process if you're doing that. you're doing something wrong if your beer is bitter. The hops here are full-bodied. The beer has a good hoppy taste, and it lacks any bitterness whatsoever, even in the aftertaste. This is a very good lager, and have to give it a good score because of that. So, it lacks a wee bit of richness to bring it up into a very high number, but it is very good. I would give this beer a 7 or 8 on the scale of 1 to 10. So it's a good beer. It's a good flavored beer. It's better than 90% of the beers you're going to find out there from other countries. And you're going to see a lot of German beers in this selection that I got recently. It's loaded with German beers, so you're going to get a good selection of not the ones you commonly see. So their hops are good. I don't know where they grow them, if they're grown locally or whatever. The mixture is nice, and the little bit of sugar they put in there helps balance the beer and helps it apparently go through the process better and cleaner. So this is a great little beer, and I highly recommend it to beer drinkers. And check it out. Cool bottle, too.